proclaiming that Donald Trump is somebody that is a dictator because they've never had real conflict in their lives. And you're about to see that example.
What? You think Trump has had real conflict in his life except for the conflicts he got himself in with the law?
As far as I know, he's never called one of his opponents Adolf Hitler.
That's nowhere near as bad as he said and done. You like this. Everybody knows Trump plays golf at 7 p.m. on Friday, every single Friday, and he doesn't miss a session. You know that because you be sucking his right after.
You know what I'm saying? Drop a like, leave a comment, let me know you're in here. We finna have fun tonight.
What up, what up, what up? Back with another video. Today, we're going to look at another Piers Morgan Uncensored video. Y'all know Piers got the entertainment for days. Like, Piers knows how to keep an entertaining show, that's for sure. But this man made my blood boil. So we are going to watch this together and call out all of the nonsense, all the double standard, all the BS. And yeah, let's get into it.
Check Hugo. There's a lot going on. I mean, the news cycle right now feels slightly insane. You know, you've got Donald Trump nearly assassinated again, twice in 2 months now. You've got apparently Israel launching this extraordinary attack across the whole of Lebanon on thousands of Hezbollah terrorists and, of course, wounding and potentially killing as well civilians in the process. So there's a lot to unpack here. What do you make of it?
Okay, first of all, on Donald Trump, what do you want me to do? The guy did a coup attempt. He had fake electors, not even his own electors. You have your own slate of electors. He didn't use them because they said this is unconstitutional and illegal. You lost the election. And he said, all right, you can get in fake electors. Let's do a coup attempt here. Let's have them bum rush the Capitol. And then that'll create enough confusion that we can bring it back to the states and the Republicans will cheat for us.
And I bet you Piers is going to ignore all of that.
They even wrote it in a book. Then he said we should terminate the Constitution because he lost the election. So what do you want me to do, Piers? The guy hates democracy. He's a dictator wannabe. So, okay, should you shoot at him? Of course not. Any action that is physical like that or violent is a surrender in the intellectual field of debate and ideas. So it's a terrible idea. It's immoral, etc. But I'm not going to let up on Donald Trump for 1 second rhetorically, because he is a monster and he tried to terminate our Constitution.
As you should.
He tried to steal an election.
It's just so crazy. It's like if somebody attempts to kill him and it's like, all right, y'all, don't say nothing about him. It's like, bro, what people supposed to do? Just sit back and just be like, vote for Kamala. Like, what?
I've never seen anyone so despicable in American politics. And by the way, there's another reason why I'm angry at him, because I'm a populist, and he took populism and he perverted it to just turning into his own personal con. He's such a slimy con man. I loathe him. Everyone should vote against him. He's one of the worst people I have ever seen in politics, and I'm not going to let him terminate the Constitution or destroy this democracy.
You see, what I find extraordinary, Cenk, is you haven't even given it a beat.
See? He just don't matter. Nothing else matters. You haven't given it a beat. A beat for what?
Since he nearly had his brains blown out on Sunday on a golf course, which came 2 months after.
Did he give a beat, Piers? Did he give a beat? Did he ever give a beat when he constantly talks about violence? Hey, if someone takes out somebody from with a stretcher, I'll pay the legal bills. Attack people. Oh, my political opponents, I'm going to jail them. I'm going to attack them.
Well, to be clear, well, hang on. To be clear, you're trying to equate him making a joke about maybe slapping or punching someone in a...
So the freaking presidential nominee can make jokes about physically harming people, but people can't say that he's a wannabe dictator? And then that he said he would be a dictator day one out of his mouth? He said that?
Crowd who's abusing him.
When I make a joke about
someone taking an AK
Trump across the face,
hang on, can I make
that joke?
Can he make the joke?
Hang on, somebody actually shooting him on a rally stage.
And he made fun of Paul Pelosi getting his head bashed in and almost dying.
And then very nearly shooting him on a golf course with naked...
He did not very nearly shoot him. The man was 500 yards away. And for perspective, a football field is 120 yards. This man was 500 yards from Trump with an AK-47 with no line of sight. He ain't no nearly shoot nobody. Stop, Piers.
AK-47. Do you not see the difference?
So, Piers, those are terrible actions. So what am I'm
Yes, I
asking
see
you
the
a literal
difference.
question.
I see that the shooter couldn't see Trump on the second one.
What do you want me to just go?
Could you give it a beat?
Okay, now Donald Trump's a good. Hold on, let me finish the question.
On a human level,
Donald Trump's a good guy. Donald Trump loves democracy. Donald Trump's still the same monster he was yesterday.
That's true. It's like if Trump not even coming out and acting like he's a new person since he gotten close to death, at least after the first time, he's got close to death. So he ain't changed. Why the hell would anybody around be like, well, maybe we should stop saying things about him that's true? Like, what the fuck are you asking?
So I hate that people are shooting at him. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's immoral. It's wrong.
Why would you be
I can't
surprised?
condemn it any stronger.
Why would you be?
He just said he hated, is stupid, is immoral, is dumb, and he talking about some, what do you expect? He's not even acknowledging that Cenk is disavowing the shooter in any shooting.
I'm not going to tell you that Donald Trump is a decent man,
but Cenk,
when
why
he's
would
a
you
grotesque human being.
Why would you be surprised that people are taking drastic action? Unhinged people with unhinged brains who are listening to constant rhetoric from people.
So we can't say anything because people on Earth are unhinged? What the fuck type of standard is this? People say things all the time and crazy people gonna crazy. So I don't get how people calling Trump what he is, a wannabe dictator. He praises authoritarian. He's said he's espoused the words of Hitler. Nobody said he is Hitler. They said he's saying shit that Hitler said and he likes authoritarians. So who are we upset at? You need to be upset at the person displaying these actions, not people calling it out. That don't make any sense.
You can answer the question.
Well,
what do you want me to do? You want me to politically surrender,
I'm
right?
asking you a question.
He don't know what he wants you to do.
Do you not consider for a moment that within 48 hours you're still saying monster, demagogue, dictator, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah,
Yes,
blah, blah.
that's what he is.
Yes, but this is what is
So you want me to
affecting...
lie?
Yeah, because
You want me to lie?
Because,
Do you want me to lie?
Let me
Right.
finish. Let me finish.
You can't answer
The
that.
shooter at the golf course,
He can't answer that.
specifically in his recent social media posts, parroted Kamala Harris, saying that he was effectively an existential threat to democracy in America.
He is a threat to democracy. Why aren't you upset about the fact that he's a threat to democracy? You're mad at people calling it out. That doesn't make any sense, bro. This is stupid.
You're doing the same. There's nothing.
I wonder if Piers does this shit for the ratings, or is he this damn much of a Trump apologist?
Make you pause.
You're insane.
Hillary Clinton's
You're
doing the
insane.
same.
Trump does
Cenk,
it
tell him about
2,000
himself.
times worse.
So
Piers,
because you think
And then the fact that both of these shooters were like registered Republicans and voted for Trump and supported him, and they trying to shoot at him, yet they keep talking about what the left is saying, and these people aren't part of the left. Why are you still talking to the people on the right if the shooters have been people on the freaking right? You still talk about people on the left. That would make it make sense, bro.
So your
You
great
should do
idea
it too.
is
Finna make you
Democrats
pop a
shouldn't.
blood
Your great
vessel,
idea is
boy.
Democrats shouldn't campaign against your beloved Donald Trump because some moron, mentally unstable guy took a shot at him. Okay, or two of them did. You know what? I
Exactly.
can protect Donald Trump. Ban assault weapons. That'll protect Donald Trump way more than any of say nice things about him. Now that some lunatic took some shots at him.
Yeah, that's
Here,
crazy to put the actions of a legitimate crazy person, because I think dude was literally off his rocker. And excuse me, to put that on people calling out Trump for what he is crazy. Nobody can say anything then if we got to worry about crazy people doing crazy things.
Let me be super clear. If you're on the left, I know the right-wingers love their guns and Second Amendment remedy, and they've been riled up to do violence nonstop. But if you're on the left and you do any violence, you are not one of us. You're a stupid person who does nothing but make a worthy cause look immoral with your insanity. Never do violence. Is that clear enough?
Or maybe when they constantly hear on
No recognition, no approval, no acknowledgement of what he just said, and he's
the airwaves, people like you and Hillary Clinton and others
Oh my
constantly
God.
depicting Trump as an existential
you're
threat to
super guilty,
democracy
Piers.
in America.
This is
you're
ridiculous.
Totally guilty.
Maybe
You're guilty.
That has to be intentional. This has to be. There's no way Pierce is this ignorant. No way.
Maybe
You're guilty.
Maybe
Because you support Donald Trump.
Maybe
And
it
Donald
is
Trump
pos-
has done 2,000 times worse,
Maybe-
and you know it. You won't
maybe-
even run it on this show.
Okay.
You won't even run it on this
Yep.
show because Donald Trump, what he says is so much worse than anything a Democrat has ever said about
Yes.
him. So you
Yes.
won't even run it on this show. So
Yep.
that's it. Are you telling Donald?
He had a whole reel of the stuff people on the left been saying about Trump when he'll never show Trump all the crazy shit he said. He don't show that shit in no montage. But he had a montage of people on the left saying things about him, about being a threat to democracy, and he's acting like Hitler and he's a dictator and all that shit.
Donald Trump, you better shut up. You better not say any of those gross things that you always say. You know that he joked about smashing Nancy Pelosi's husband's head in with a hammer.
and the truth
One
is,
of his
Cenk,
lunatic
and
fans
Cenk-
tried to murder Nancy Pelosi's
Yeah, and
husband,
Cenk-
and he's like, it's so funny.
Here's
Do
the
you know
problem.
that when they
He
tried
ain't
to
say shit.
murder
I
his
bet you he
vice
ain't say shit
president,
about
Here's the
that.
problem,
he then
Cenk.
turned around and said he deserved it.
Yep.
Here's the problem.
He's a psycho.
Yep.
And
Here's
you
the problem.
defend him every day, Pete.
Here's
Yep.
the problem.
Yep.
You have no idea what I've said about Trump when he's done these things. If
You ain't go
had-
this hard. You don't dedicate episodes to get everybody to try to agree that Trump is wrong. You always want to get when the left do one mishap, it's oh my God, the left, this is what you guys are doing. So Trump, I bet you ain't had no whole panel with 3 leftists and 1 Trump supporter like you always do, because you're always a Trump supporter. Then you get 2 more Trump supporters and 1 person on the left, and then they get jumped the whole time and don't ever have backup or anything, and Cenk got to fend for his own.
You wouldn't accuse me of not talking about them.
And Pierce so fake about it because he'll be like, I disavow when Trump did that. I don't agree with January 6th. But you called him like Hitler. And it'd be like, that's all it'd be about. January 6th is worse than anything anybody ever said on the left. The electoral scheme is worse than anything anybody said on the left. But he's always harping whole episodes on something the left did wrong or whatever. Joe Biden looked crazy and Kamala misspoke, all that shit. But he don't hold these type of panels for when Trump do all the crazy shit he's even done in this election.
So are you telling him to shut up?
Because I always do.
Are you telling him to
You
shut
don't
up?
always do shit. You don't go this hard. You just be like, I disagree with that, and then that's it.
I want to bring in Candace Owens here. Candace, look, we're 48 hours after the latest assassination attempt, and I'm listening to another liberal who I respect. I've had Cenk on a lot on the show, absolutely losing his mind about how despicable Donald Trump is and what a threat he is and a danger and so on and so on. Exactly the kind of rhetoric that Trump has said he believes is fueling these people.
Of course
to
he's
try
going to
and
say
kill
it's
him.
the left. Of course.
What do you make of where we are with this?
What I make of all of this is that if you are going to legitimately tell people that someone is a monster, that somebody is a dictator, that somebody is literally Adolf Hitler, if you're going to tell
Notice both of these people have been crazy. We don't know that much about the first guy. I guess we don't know what his state of mind is, but this guy is like literally mentally ill.
people that this person is a constant threat, why wouldn't somebody try to eliminate that threat? That would
What do y'all want people to say? It's true. Trump is a threat to democracy because it came out of his mouth and his actions.
actually
And
be a
his
sensible
fingers.
thing for somebody to do if they believe the rhetoric that is coming out of people's mouths. Now,
Then
if
all
this
of the
had
right
happened
wing
and
is
it was
guilty,
flipped,
including
Exactly.
you, Candace.
Cenk, you just
You're all
spoke for a
guilty.
very long
Let
time.
Candace finish,
10,000
please.
times worse than
Let
you know.
Candace-
I mean,
You're-
but that's rude. He shouldn't have cut her off because everybody been quiet while he ranted. But he's probably pissed because I know I am right now. This is ridiculous.
Yourself,
Cenk.
Cenk, you're going to have to learn how to control yourself. I know it's very difficult for you, but you just had a very long time to speak and we were quiet. I
pinching his
promise you
lips.
can do that. You need to sit on your hands, then you should do that. As I was saying, if this situation had been reversed and I had just watched somebody try to shoot Kamala Harris, I would be
Nobody shot at Trump.
definitively
Not this
saying
time.
how
This
wrong
time.
it was.
They didn't
I would
shoot at
be
him this
saying to
time.
people that despite the fact that I do not want her to be president, of course, she is not so much of a threat that she needs to be shot. They don't stop
Trump is so much of a threat, he don't need to be president. That's what y'all missing. Nobody wants him to get shot. It's the fact that y'all sitting up here supporting somebody that's this egregiously incompetent and doesn't give a fuck about anything but himself. And y'all just treating him like he's just some politician. And he's not.
stop this rhetoric because They do not want these assassination attempts to stop on Donald Trump. And I want to be very clear.
What?
The
You're a
circumstance
liar.
that we find ourselves in the West
You're
is
a
one of
liar.
remarkable privilege. And when you're in times of remarkable privilege, it creates actually an issue of having a lot of weak men, right? Weak men are the ones that are going out here
Like
proclaiming that Donald
Yeah.
Trump is a threat, proclaiming that Donald Trump is somebody that is a dictator because they've never had real conflict in their lives. And you're about to see that example.
What? You think Trump has had real conflict in his life except for the conflicts he got himself in with the law? What? She's saying other men are weak?
Right now, the difference in the demeanor between someone like Cenk and Eric Prince, who I greatly respect, and who is somebody who has seen real conflict and understands what real threat is, right? He understands.
Who are you comparing him to? You compare him to Cenk all you want. I don't know these men's backstory, but don't act like Trump is somebody like him.
Real
If he's a
threat.
Marine.
Cenk is somebody that grew up, obviously, with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never had to fight for anything in his life and has never had to put his life before somebody else's. So
Candace is so unserious. I don't get how anybody could listen to this woman and think she's like right about anything when she gives you so much bullshit that whether she believes it, she's stupid as fuck, or if she doesn't believe it, y'all stupid as fuck. Because y'all believe she believes this shit. She just said Cenk has been born with a silver spoon and he's never had to work for anything or worry about anybody but himself. Are you kidding me? We're talking about, this came from Donald Trump. Who more has been born with a silver spoon and had to worry about only themselves?
So it's very easy for him to behave like this, to behave,
abs-
demonstrate like
he's
a
pissed
toddler
off. Trump
who
is just,
throwing
that's
his
him.
toys out of
That's
the
just
pram
him.
when he doesn't get what he wants. And so he heightens his rhetoric and says, why am I not getting what I want? This man's a dictator. This man's a threat.
Trump, why didn't I get what I want? Everybody lie for me. Everybody scheme for me. Let's break the law so I can be president. Fuck what the voters say. I won. I don't care. Oh, Mr. President, you lost. 63 courts either didn't take it or they told you you lost. There's nothing here. You lost. VP, overturn the verse. No, I'm not a traitor to my fucking country. Oh, well, we're going to run and take over January 6th, the day they certified in the vote, and we're going to stop it so we could cause so much chaos, and they go back to the states and we can lie and cheat so I can get my way. Get the fuck out of here, Candace.
And he's not being realistic. And it's embarrassing to our country, whether it was a person on the right
you guys
or the
haven't
left.
addressed it at all.
And they never will.
I
They
promise
never
you are
will.
capable
He
of
wants to
control
terminate the
over yourself
Constitution,
for
so you
3
like that?
minutes as somebody else speaks.
Let me bring in Eric. Eric, you are a former
They'll
Navy
never
SEAL.
address it.
And a patient.
Navy.
And a very
I called him
patient
a Marine.
former
He's a
Navy SEAL, yes. You know, when I look at what's happened here, there are lots of strands to what's going on. And we'll come to the security aspect around Trump, which I find pretty scary, actually, that twice people have, with extraordinary ease, got into positions to assassinate him in the space of 8 weeks. Which
Pierce is hyping this shit way more than what it is. And it's not to say the shit is okay. It's to say that the man was 500 yards from Trump. That is extremely far. That's very far. Again, it's not okay, but stop acting like these two events are similar. The first one was egregious. That was, there's no way that made any sense. That shouldn't have happened under any circumstance. This one, I would need to see. I don't know what the damn place looked like, but I know 500 yards is far as fuck.
I just find quite remarkable and shocking and shameful and a disgrace that the Secret Service has allowed that to happen.
And they keep saying allowed. The man, he saved his life. He did his job. The Secret Service saw dude and shot him before the dude did anything. That's what their job is. They can't protect the whole world from Trump. Like, what the fuck? Do you want a 5-mile radius cover of Trump? Like, what the hell are we talking about? It's got to be a point where there's a cutoff to the area they're protecting. It has to be, sir.
But before we get to that, this whole...
They saved his life.
Well,
Right.
they didn't save his life. They put him in a position
They didn't save his life. Yes, they did.
his life nearly got taken.
No,
And that-
nobody shot a gun except for his Secret Service to protect him. The guy got nowhere near him.
That's the truth. I mean, because they didn't even
The
check
guy
the
didn't
perimeter.
even get off a shot.
They didn't
and
even
you're still
check.
spreading
They
conspiracy
didn't
theories.
even check the perimeter of the golf course.
They did, I'm sure. I don't know how big this golf course is, but I know 500 yards is far.
Before he was exposed for 4 hours on that course, 8 weeks after he was shot.
That's so
It is-
far away that that's what I'm saying. Like, The perimeter is whatever the fuck they made the perimeter. Probably safe enough.
Unbelievable.
And dude still saw him.
Anyone from
Thank
the
you,
Secret
Secret
Service
Service, for
would
protecting
claim
Donald Trump.
anything
Right.
but a dismal failure
Piers just want to suck off all his little nutsack.
of their preparation to protect the president, in my opinion. But we'll come to that. Eric, what do you make of this debate, which is raging right now, in this debate now, about the rhetoric and the responsibility of people who are on the airwaves, who are in public life, to dial down the rhetoric?
Look, like the video clip you opened with, there's an enormous amount of apocalyptic language spoken by the left. Call it saying he must be eliminated, he is Hitler, and that unleashes every left-wing crazy to authenticate themselves by saying, I'm going to be the hero. This guy, this Ruth guy
God.
on Sunday, who was there for 12 hours stalking Donald Trump with a high-powered rifle with a scope, with ballistic plates up against the fence. And what did he have up there? A GoPro. Why? He was trophy hunting.
Scope? How you gonna
He
use a
wanted
scope
to
with
be
an
the savior
AK-47?
of the left to say, I'm the one that killed Donald J. Trump.
Stop.
Trophy hunting, saying,
Why is he got to be a trophy? What do you say? Acknowledged by the left. Why does it have to be by the left?
for people like you.
There's a lot of never Trumpers on the right. How you know he ain't trying to please the never Trumpers? He's a never Trumper. Never Trumper is somebody that's on the right that don't fuck with Trump. Why do you think he's trying to get praise from the left?
You responding to words that you're putting out there. Why else would he have a GoPro?
To film.
No, he wanted to get famous. You're totally right about that, Eric.
Right, talking about
So,
why else
and
did
I
he have a
hate
GoPro?
that. But the way
film
that
it.
this whole thing has been framed, as if the right wing doesn't do rhetoric that is 10,000 times more dangerous and violent over and over again. Trump's fans sent pipe bombs to every one of his enemies. Trump fans hit Nancy Pelosi's husband in the head with a hammer, and Trump never even denounced it. How sick is that? That he never even denounced it. He laughs
He didn't
about
denounce it,
it.
and
So
he
if we
made
were
jokes
using
about
the
it.
Trump standard, we'd laugh about him getting shot at. But I'm not as disgusting as Donald Trump is.
Nancy Pelosi's husband had an interlude with some bizarre gay lover.
Does that justify him getting his head bashed in and Trump laughing about it? Please tell me. Even though this shit is a lie and it was a fucking conspiracy theory, just like the right always spewing, if it were true, why did you say it as if that justifies Trump laughing about it? If he was cheating with him, gay man, that's not okay, but that doesn't mean Trump should laugh about him getting his head bashed with a fucking hammer, bro. Are you kidding me?
Trust me,
you're a
that
moron.
He wasn't on the right.
Oh my God!
And then Candace, he wasn't on the right. Y'all just some
He
wasn't on
fucking
the right.
liars, bro. I just wish I could live in the rights like land, because they could just say and believe anything and nobody will ever challenge them. It's just, I can believe I just have $2 million. No, you don't. Where is it? It doesn't. I have it. I have it. Listen, I have it.
On here with lunatics and
He
conspiracy
wasn't on the right.
theorists.
This is crazy.
I
Where
can't
he
believe
lived,
he just
where he
said that.
lived, he
And
had
you're
an
saying that the guy who
LGBTQ
smashed Paul
flag
Pelosi's
outside of
head
his
in
house.
wasn't on.
Wait. He had an LGBTQ flag, so he wasn't on the right. So now no gay people are conservative. Sorry, Dave Rubin. Sorry. You can't be LGBT. You're on the right.
On the right?
You got to pick one.
Is that what Candace Owens, the
No, he was
lunatic,
not
just
on
said?
the right. Okay,
Just
just so
let
you know,
Piers,
if you're going
I
to
come
call
on here
somebody
with-
else a
I mean,
lunatic,
these
you
right-wingers
shouldn't be
are all
behaving like one in the
nuts.
process.
Just because he's emotional and animated doesn't mean he's a lunatic. Y'all look crazy sitting there with a straight face, bold face, lying. That is what's crazy. To just be bold faced lying about shit that we all know, and you regular and you calling him the lunatic. No, you look crazy.
When you say, but
Absolutely
Cheng, when you say
God
these
damn.
right-wingers are all nuts, do you understand the irony, given you just spent the last 10 minutes literally ranting?
So you're nuts if you rant. What the fuck are you talking about, Piers?
Yeah, I do, Piers. So I am loud and aggressive because that's what the Democrats and the left wing need to stand up to lunatic bullies like this. Candace Owens just said that the attacker of Paul Pelosi was not a right winger when he is a Donald Trump fan and a deep right winger. And Eric Prince, the lunatic, had said that he was a gay lover of Paul Pelosi. A conspiracy theory so unhinged that how am I supposed
Okay.
to respond to it? You can't have a rational discussion.
You can't
with
talk
people
about
who
anything
don't
with
believe in
people like
facts and
this.
logic. Piers, are you agreeing with these two lunatics that
He's not gonna. I bet you he don't. I bet you he don't say that wasn't true.
he was not a right winger?
You
they
should
both
have a
lied.
little
That
bit
he was
more
some sort of
respect.
gay
Shut the
lover of
fuck up,
Frank Pelosi?
Candace.
Eric Prince as a lunatic. He served our country. You should have
Yes.
a little more respect and decency.
Yeah, no,
as
he's a
human being, as
mercenary and a
man.
disgusting guy, by the way.
Well, damn.
How many people did you get
You are
killed?
just-
Innocent people in Iraq, Eric. How many
Damn.
people did
Damn, Chank. I don't know nothing about this guy, but damn, I hope you like. Why are you saying this?
you have mowed down in Iraq, Eric?
You know,
Why would he say that? Why is he just saying he killed innocent people? You don't know that.
going back to your topic, Piers, perhaps it's time to bring back 19th century behavior, which maybe we had a more civil society then. If people are going to throw all kinds of bombastic language, they do so because they do it without consequence. In the 19th century in the UK, people would call them out for a duel. Doesn't have to be to the death. Could be swords. It could be bugle sticks. Maybe that would make for a more polite society. I don't know. I'm ready to go there.
You see that? Piers, you see that? Who's the first to threaten violence? Of course, Eric from the right wing.
Yeah, but-
Whereas
okay,
I
but-
denounce
Yeah, but-
violence.
yeah, but-
I
yeah,
denounce it
but-
strongly and loudly, and you heard it with your own ears.
Yeah,
Cenk,
but-
what I don't think you appreciate.
Oh my God! It's back at Chank. It's Chank's fault. Chank is the one that's wrong.
How ranting, incendiary rhetoric of the kind
No, it was not incendiary.
you've unleashed so far in this debate yourself can,
insane.
with an impressionable,
This is
unhinged
insane.
person,
I don't give
who
a fuck
believes
about
everything you're
unhinged
saying
people.
about Trump, that's candid.
Why the fuck do I care about crazy people? I can't. They're crazy. No matter what I say, they're gonna be crazy. I'm not gonna lie though.
said, why wouldn't that person think to themselves, yeah, we've got to get rid of him. We've got to stop him.
Okay.
So my question for you
Piers,
is, if you
is
can't
so
even dial it down
infuriating,
within
bro.
48 hours
This is
of
so
a second
infuriating.
assassination attempt on Trump's life, when can you?
So, Piers, now let's have an intelligent conversation.
Shut the fuck up. He
Hold on.
asked Chank a
About
question.
where are the lines? Where are the lines? So, wait, he asked me a question. Where are the lines? So, when Trump says these incendiary things that encourage violence, including laughing at smashing the head in of a political opponent's husband, that's what? Is that fine?
Right.
Or he's bad too?
Well, is
How
it fine?
long does he have to pause
Is
He's
it
not gonna
fine?
answer.
violent
Is he
things?
not
Listen,
gonna
I
answer?
criticised Trump for lots of his incendiary language over the years.
But no, you not like this. And that's the thing. He says this shit like I criticize him just so he could run defense and nobody could say he'd be sucking off Trump. But you do.
As far as
Okay, so how long
hang
should he stop?
on. So far as I know, he's ever called one of his opponents Adolf Hitler.
That's nowhere near as bad as the shit he said and done. You fucking bitch. Like, this
And
is
yet
so...
the left constantly.
Yeah, he did. He just called.
Constantly.
I don't know about Hitler, but first of all,
Constantly,
but Piers,
the
you
left,
make it
but
look like.
Cenk, here's my point. If the left constantly say, as they do,
But neither one of the people that shot at him, well, the one guy that shot at him and the other guy that didn't shoot at him, we ain't seen them call him Hitler. So why do you say that as if that's the driving force behind their motivations?
he's the new Hitler, who, by the way, murdered 12 million people with his Nazis, including 6 million
He act like that's the only thing fucking Hitler did.
Jews of
That was the end of his fucking reign.
Holocaust. If you keep saying that often enough, as the left do in America, eventually an unhinged mind is going to think, I've got to stop the new Hitler. That's my point.
So first of all, I've never called him Hitler, but I love Sandra Day O'Connor's quote about it was about Bush and Cheney at the time. About fascism. She said, we've got to be careful of these beginnings so that we don't get those endings. So what I'm worried about is a guy who says that he loves dictators and writes love letters to them, and that he loves it when everybody has to stand up and applaud and no one can disagree with the leader of the country. He loves it. He thought we should terminate the Constitution. When they said to him, hey, they're trying to murder, your fans are trying to murder your own vice president. He told Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, he deserves it.
That's
I have
insane,
to tell people
bro.
the reality
That's
about Donald
insane.
Trump. So, Piers, what do you want me to do?
That
Take
is
a
not the reality.
48-hour break, a 72-hour break? Or maybe do you want me to take a month and a half of a break of criticizing Donald
insane.
Trump?
Well, you know,
He
it was
deserved
interesting.
it.
It was interesting watching
Cenk, you're
watching
such a
CNN
radical.
yesterday,
You are
my old
such a
network, for
radical.
example, where CNN finally
Shut up.
conceded on air that actually when Kamala Harris repeated this trope about Trump, that he called for they said there would be a bloodbath if he lost the election. Everyone knows that's untrue. That's not what he said. He talked about a bloodbath in the automobile industry. CNN finally admitted that on air, but Kamala Harris repeated that in a way that implied he said there would be a literal bloodbath. So when it comes to rhetoric,
I do hate that she did that. I don't like when they give them any ammo to say shit like this, because they definitely cleared it up. At worst, it was malicious. At best, she was misleading intentionally. It was misleading unintentionally, I should say. At best, she misled unintentionally. At worst, she was just maliciously lying. It's just, I don't even like them having the ammo to be able to say shit like that, because she lied about, if that's the thing, that's she definitely has some misleading statements. But I don't even like that she gave them that, because overall she didn't lie. Meanwhile, he lied endlessly. And it's like they're going to pick at these few times and then just ignore all his bullshit.
Yes, Donald Trump has a lot of incendiary things that come out of his mouth, and I wish he didn't. But so does the left, Jane. And your utter refusal to accept
he's not refusing it. He never refused it.
For creating an atmosphere
where
refused two people now tried to kill Trump.
Why is he saying that?
I think he's very disingenuous.
No, Piers, let me be clear. So number one, on the bloodbath comment, on the day of and ever since, we played the whole clip on the Young Turks and told everybody he did not mean violence. He talked about an economic bloodbath.
So why did Kamala Harris pretend that
he ain't Kamala? Why are you asking him to justify what she said if he don't agree with it?
I can't sit here and not tell you that he didn't try to end our democracy, because he did.
Exactly.
So I'm asking you now for like the fourth time. What
I'm
do you want me to do?
I'm going to get the other two to respond to this, but I just want to bring in just very quickly the Republican Congressman Corey Mills. Corey Mills, thank you very much indeed for joining me. We're having a very
Thanks so much for having me.
We're having a very heated debate, ironically, about the heated debate raging around America, which may or may not have played a part in these two assassination attempts. There's an irony there.
Well, there's not an irony. I've been listening to the complete instability, and I'll remind Cenk and others that we should go back to Henry II, who actually sat with his knights and said, "Is there no one who can rid me of this meddlesome priest?" His knights took that rhetoric to mean that they should go and murder the Archbishop of Canterbury, thereby actually resulting in an assassination of an individual. So I think that Eric is correct and Candace is correct that Cenk should just probably sit on his hands for a moment and just listen to what hate and vitriol
everybody going
he
jump
is
on
spewing
Cenk,
and why things have continued to ratchet up. I think that we all need to look at political violence and a condemnation, and also take a response to say that this isn't something that we want to continue, by taking down the pressure and the heat which is boiling within America, and start looking at things with understanding that civil discourse is acceptable, that political discourse is acceptable, but ratcheting up the violence and this type of rhetorical, type of threats is just not to be accepted here in America.
They just really acting like they out here just screaming like, let's whoop Trump's ass. We got to get him out of here. Take him out. Yeah. Like, what? They just calling him what he is.
I agree. And on this separate issue.
Meanwhile, Trump is running around calling Kamala a fascist and a Marxist and socialist and shit, and she's not any of that. Nobody gives a fuck about that.
Trump security. I was staggered to see the acting director of the Secret Service, who's replaced the one who resigned after the rally shooting, basically doing a kind of victory lap on television, where he claimed everything they had done was fantastic.
Because that's what their fucking job is. Like, Piers is acting like the Secret Service is supposed to be preventing people to try to attack them. Their job is to react to the actions that's happening. I don't get it. Like, if somebody is 10,000 feet away from y'all with a high-powered rifle, do you expect that? How can they do this? Like, what? How did that happen? Like, what the fuck do you... 500 yards is far as fuck. Like I said, a football field is 120 yards. 500 yards is far as fuck. So I don't get what his expectation is.
Perfectly, because one of his agents spotted the the barrel of a rifle poking out of a bush.
That's I feel like that is an exceptional job. He excelled highly to see 500 yards away, see a gun, and shoot the person before they had any time to do anything.
And fired him.
I would say he did his job.
The shooter, but scared him away. But I'm sorry, why was no one from the Secret Service thinking it would be a good idea to even check the perimeter of the golf course?
They probably did, bro. 500 yards is far.
Given that people know where Trump plays.
Well, that's exactly.
You know that shit. Everybody in the world don't know. The only people that's gonna know that shit is people that's trying to know it. He swear everybody knows Trump plays golf at 7 p.m. on Friday, every single Friday, and he doesn't miss a session. You know that shit because you be sucking his dick right after.
He was in Florida. They knew he was likely to be playing golf at that course. And the guy went and positioned himself for 12 hours right where the media go to get a clean photographic shot of Trump.
That is clearly is abnormal behavior for him to even know this information. And you knowing it too says a lot about what the fuck you think about Piers. I don't know fucking Trump's golf schedule. I wouldn't even put my money that most of MAGA don't know Trump's golf schedule. But you do. And the fucking shooter. That says more about you than it does about the damn shooter or the Secret Service, Piers.
I mean, it just almost, it's beyond parody, this.
Well, Pierce, if I could just go ahead and say that this is the second time that a perimeter and security bubble failure has existed. You look at the 150-yard shot by Thomas Crooks. You now look at this attempted plot to assassinate the president within 500 yards.
500 yards. That's far as fuck. 150 was unacceptable, especially for him to be on a fucking roof. That was such an obvious spot.
This is why I've argued for a long time that there's three critical failures within the U.S. Secret Service and has nothing to do with funding. This has to do with the fact that, one, we have prioritized DEI over meritocracy.
I swear to God, these people will say DEI for any fucking thing. Anything. What's the excuse if it's a white man in charge and there's a failure? Y'all don't say DEI. Was Derek Chauvin a DEI? What the fuck? Y'all say that shit for everything.
And two, the ability to conduct an
and they don't even use the shit correctly.
Actual threat assessment
they don't understand
on a principle, that being the former President Donald Trump, and then looking at your threat mitigation strategy should not be dictated and determined by the title or the position you carry, but by the actual
yes, it should. Yes,
threat
it should.
itself and what assets.
Why would a mayor have the same level of protection as a fucking president? Why would a former president have the same level of protection as the president? Yes, the title matters. Now, the fact that they keep trying to take out Trump, they have to up it because these are extenuating circumstances. But on any normal occasion, Trump should not have the same level of protection as Biden.
Assets and resources are required to mitigate that threat. So
it doesn't
the
make
reality
sense
is,
because when do you stop? When you're president last term, 2 term, 3, like when does it stop?
They're touting that this is a great success. As Eric can tell you, and look, I'm a United States Army combat veteran. I'd served in the 82nd. I've worked overseas.
I don't even know if presidential candidates are supposed to have the same level of protection as the actual sitting president. I don't even know if that's the case.
He's on different protection details. I can tell you that the best way to mitigate a threat is to forecast it to prevent it from occurring in the first place, not to.
Yeah, but the first time that was absolutely unacceptable. This time, dude didn't get nowhere near Trump, didn't get off a shot, and it pretty much was prevented. Now, if that dude was camping out for 12 hours, I need to look more into that.
Play reactionary.
That's crazy.
And so extending out a perimeter bubble, guaranteeing the threat assessment and matrix of security mitigation and guaranteeing asset resources should be the first priority. But we have poor leadership in the Secret Service. We have DEI prioritization, and we have a failed
What's the DEI? Then what was
strategy on how we actually allocate assets.
I've known Trump nearly 20 years as a friend.
Friend.
And I am genuinely concerned
the way this man act
about his safety.
Over his baby
I genuinely fear that between now and the election, someone could get successful. That these assassination attempts are coming.
And if we're gonna be actually 1,000% honest, the fact that he got shot at one time, that typically will lower the chances of it happening again. They probably ramped up security in that closer in that time frame, but you would think that since it happened once, it's far, far, far less likely to happen again, bro. You wouldn't assume that it's gonna happen again if it happened once already. You would never think
alarming
that.
regularity. Two in 8 weeks. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, that's exactly right. Not to mention the fact that you can't go ahead and assess the threat under President Trump to that of, say, a former president like Bill Clinton or Jimmy Carter. We have to look at the fact that President Trump is not only one of the most loved individuals, but he's also one of the most hated, and not just by the threats we've seen domestically, but that of the fatwa, which was declared by Iran after the successful counterterrorism strike by Qasem Soleimani and also Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes. The fact that he was successful in the elimination of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS or Daesh. And so we have to start looking at the fact that while they can continue to try and claim that the incident that resulted on J6 was an incitement of violence through dangerous rhetoric, why can't we assume that the incitement of violence that resulted in the attempted assassination on January 13th or recently isn't of the same caliber, and why can't we treat it the same? And so, look, I've had multiple discussions with Eric. Eric's a longtime friend. He's a patriot, former Navy SEAL combat veteran. The things that Cenk was saying about him couldn't be further from the truth, because I think Eric's one of the best. But I'll tell you, I think at this point, until we can get new leadership in the Secret Service, we actually need to be thinking about private security on the internal bubble of the president, utilizing former soft guys and pushing out the Secret Service assets in the bubble to do clearance and prevent this type of incident from happening in the future.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to happen. Congressman, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I appreciate it.
They did their fucking job. I hope nobody get in trouble from that.
It's crazy. I do genuinely feel very apprehensive.
They did their fucking job, bro.
And what may happen. And I dread to think what would happen in America if somebody did actually assassinate Donald Trump, as they are repeatedly trying to do.
Yes, I mean, I was completely underwhelmed by the immediate reactions, even from Kamala Harris, just that simple tweet, and violence has no place, which felt like it was copy and pasted from a PR firm.
Well,
there was no shock. Boy. There was no, this is absolutely wrong. There was no expressment of true frustration and disappointment, or even the recognition that that could be her, right? Like if you're trying to be a person that wants to be the president of the United States, this could potentially be you one day. So you should be outraged. I didn't sense that outrage from her. And rather, what you have correctly attest to is they just kept going on with the rhetoric the very next day, which to me is
he kept going on. He blamed it on them.
Okay,
they reached out to him and he still blamed it on them.
We're not going to turn down the rhetoric because you guys are responding correctly. One of the things that's really frustrating, I think, for a lot of people is to watch the way the media is constantly allowed to detach themselves from the consequences of what they say, which is to say that somebody shoots up and tries to shoot a president, and the media is like, well, I was just calling him Hitler, but I never said to anyone that they should go shoot someone. And like I said earlier, what do you expect an individual to do when you are saying Adolf Hitler is taking the stage? When you are saying that we are going to completely lose democracy, which is so far from reality. It's embarrassing for Cenk to say that, because we don't have to imagine Trump as president. He already was for 4 years. People were living very well.
We're living very well.
And so this rhetoric may have made sense in 2016. It doesn't.
Why did she say that like his presidential run in 2016 is similar to the shit he's done and said between then and now? Just because we saw what a presidency was with him at a point in time, don't mean it's gonna be the same thing. Because I don't know if you noticed, Candace, he tried to overturn the election in 2020. He had a fake elector scheme. He said he wanted to suspend the Constitution. He overturned Roe v. Wade. All things people are not fond of. So I don't give a fuck about 2016.
Doesn't make sense now in 2024. And so it's frustrating to see that. And I think what is
and he getting old as shit, and you can tell,
though, is to allow people around the world to get this insight into what's happening in America, because you hear the left constantly purporting to be the side of peace. Right. And then you watch someone like Cenk, right? And then you listen to people that are on the right, the awful people on the right. You listen to Eric Prince, you listen to me, and you're able to really comprehend who are the radicals in American society. Because you can scream peace, you can scream, oh, love is love all day, but you hear their rhetoric within 24 hours after a former president was almost shot. and they never dial it down. I mean, these people, I want and encourage violence all the time.
You see, Cenk,
Fuck
here's the
outta
problem.
here.
If this was Joe Biden or Kamala Harris,
Fuck
who had
outta
had
here,
2
bro.
attempts on their life in 8 weeks, the idea that you would not, if anyone on the Republican side used the kind of enraged
If Joe Biden was trying to, if he led a coup, if he did a fake elector scheme, we wouldn't give a fuck. If he did it, that's what they're gonna call him. They're gonna call him the names that ascribe with that type of behavior.
ranting rhetoric you've
Why
deployed
would we
in
defend
this
it?
debate today within 24 hours of it happening, that you would go completely nuts.
Now it's
at the
24. I thought it was
Republicans
48
for
hours. Now
doing
it's
that.
24.
So my thing for you
I
is
see
you
you,
seem to
Piers.
think that the justification
You've been
for all
saying
your
48.
rhetoric
Now you're
is
saying
that, well,
24.
Donald Trump does it. And that's kind of like the old
'Cause I
school
think it was 48
playground
hours
thing.
after.
Well, they did that, so I can do it. Where's
Fuck
your own
outta here.
moral line? Where's your line that says
Where's
we're gonna be
yours?
better than that?
Where's
if you genuinely
yours?
believe that
Because
is
Trump
wrong,
has done way worse.
that incendiary rhetoric
So,
is wrong,
Piers.
why do you deploy it?
So, Piers, no. The framing of this entire conversation is insane. So,
It is.
If somebody was
people
just
crazy.
watching this conversation, they would think that I ordered an attack on the Capitol or that the left wing did. No, Donald Trump had a violent mob attack our Capitol, and then you make it seem like the left has the violence problem.
Right.
And then I strongly and very loudly condemned any violence. Shooting at Donald Trump is the worst thing in the world. I can't be any clearer about it.
But you don't
any
condemn,
assassination
you
attempt,
don't
any
condemn
violence,
any
any
of the-
physicality.
Yeah, but
Hold
Cenk,
on.
you don't condemn any of the
Hold
incendiary
on.
rhetoric.
Let me finish my point. I condemn it as forcefully as I possibly can. And then what do the two right-wingers do? Neither one of them
never
condemned the
condemn-
attack on Nancy
Ooh.
Pelosi's husband. Instead, they
Nope.
came up with crazy conspiracy theories.
Yep, they made an excuse
And what
for
does
it.
that do? It encourages their fans to go, oh, yeah, well, it's not a big
That's
deal
true.
to attack
They
our
didn't
political
acknowledge
opponents.
anything.
It's not a big deal to attack
They
the
just
Capitol.
fucking
It's not
brought
a
up
big
a
deal to
conspiracy
send
theory.
pipe bombs to Donald Trump's political opponents. So they encourage this kind of violence 24/7. And on January 6th, we saw it in spectacular fashion. And then you're trying to reframe the debate as criticism of Donald Trump, legitimate political criticism of Donald Trump is somehow the thing that's causing political violence in this country. No, it is 98% right-wing political violence. The 2% where it's the left wing, I hate it, I despise it, I condemn it. I can't be any clearer
And
than
yet,
that.
Cenk, the only attempts on candidates' lives have both been against the same guy. who's
So what the fuck
Republican
that got to
nominee.
do with Cenk or anybody else?
So look,
So-
there are lunatics in this world.
Right.
So
They
those
just
two
crazy
guys
people.
are total lunatics. The first guy wasn't even a left winger. This guy is totally unhinged from reality. Voted for Trump in 2016, but it isn't about him being right wing or left wing. The point is that these guys are unhinged. So I don't want anyone taking shots at Democrats, Republicans.
No, but you're not
or Donald
prepared to
Trump or
change the way you
anyone.
speak about Trump,
But Piers,
which
you
he
never
believes
answered my
is
question.
feeding
You
and
never
fueling-
He
answered
never
my
will,
question.
bro.
So do you want me
He
to
never
do
will. He don't
unilateral-
answer. Pierce will never answer a challenging question about Trump. All he says, I criticized him, but you said way worse, and they didn't.
Lateral political surrender for the rest of the election because
No.
some lunatic took a shot at Trump.
No, but you
Right.
know what? You could take a little bit longer
Take a
than
little
24
beat.
hours, perhaps,
Fuck
to
outta here.
consider
Now he
whether
keeps
the
saying
language
24
from the left
hours, but it
may
was
have
48,
contributed
bro.
to these attacks.
First he
Let me
said
bring
48.
Eric in, who's been again waiting patiently.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
Eric, it seems to me America is in a dangerous place right now. Yeah, this is not a game. You've experienced actual warfare, and we're now seeing people taking weapons of war to rallies, to golf courses, to try and settle their differences with people by shooting them. And in this case, it's Donald Trump that they want to kill. This is not
Well,
a good
Piers,
place.
If your point of this panel was to explore the spectrum of political rhetoric, I think your guest in the middle box, Reps ipsa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself.
What? Pierce looks so
To call the
he looks so like
know,
detached.
January 6th such an insurrection, it would be the first insurrection in human history where people showed up unarmed. And if people
I am so sick of people trying to act like because they were incompetent, it don't matter. Yeah, this is the first insurrection I seen where nobody came with guns. First of all, you're lying. There were people were armed there. Just because it wasn't most of them don't mean it didn't happen. So you act like it didn't happen. And then you say, if I go try to rob a bank with some bats and batons, and I walk in there with a bat and hold it up to the cashier and says, give me all the money, and I get arrested, that's the first time I see anybody try to rob a bank with a bat. Who cares? I still tried to rob the bank. I wasn't successful, though, because I went in incompetent. Incompetence does not excuse you from what you tried to do. If you try to kill somebody with a plastic knife and it don't cut them, you still tried to kill them. I don't know if it'd be attempted murder or not. Maybe that wasn't a good one. But the point remains. Incompetence doesn't make you, like, if you seriously had a knife and like you really hurt, you could hurt somebody with a plastic knife. You may not kill them, but you could hurt somebody. I don't know what the charge would be, but you're guilty of a crime. There's a crime there. Just because you aren't successful don't mean you didn't do anything wrong.
Are feeling
insurrection does not have to mean guns. It does not define in insurrection having a gun.
Vote.
That's the best way to put it.
People show up to a lot of rallies, and they should certainly be able to show up and not expect to see attacks. There was just another guy. There was an explosive found at a rally in New York today.
Well, I'll stop you there on that, actually, Eric, because that's now been discounted. They've actually said there were no explosives found. So since we've...
He literally was finna tell another fake story, and Piers had to tell him, like, no, that ain't true. What do you know? It's always somebody on the right with some fake news, some fraud shit, or a conspiracy theory. It's always somebody on the right that's got some fake shit they need to bring up. It never fails. Just like Trump got fact checked. Even though Kamala wasn't 100,000% honest, she wasn't up there egregiously making shit up out of thin air that didn't exist in any realm of possibility.
Come on, we started this. That's been now discounted.
And I bet you if Chank would have interrupted him and cut him off, he would have went back and forth with him. He would have went back and forth with Chank. Good. And it ain't because Piers is the host, because y'all see people talk to Piers crazy. If he really believed it, he would have went back and forth with him. But if Chank would have said it, he would have went back and forth with him.
But twice in 8 weeks, with what, 6 weeks left to go in the election, I really hope it's the last we've seen of political violence, because it certainly has no place for the republic to survive.
Let me bring back Candace. I want to just talk about Kamala Harris for a bit and the politics of all this, because there's no doubt she's had a little bit of a bounce now from, taking over from Biden, from the DNC, from the debate win, where I think she won that debate with Trump by sort of feeding his narcissistic streak when he fell for it. But at the same time, she's giving very few interviews. And the latest one she gave, we're going to show a little bit of it now, to me was just a load of incomprehensible word salad nothingness. Let's take a look.
I don't give a fuck what clip he finna show. For him to say that about her, and he has, since he's came back from vacation, he hasn't covered one of those incidents where Trump got up there and said literal incomprehensible nonsense. Kamala will dodge a question, but what she said is coherent. Trump literally has said incoherent things, and Piers did not bring a panel on to talk about how crazy he sounded. That was the biggest thing, that fucking response to childcare that everybody was talking about. Piers didn't cover it.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be getting in trillions of dollars, and as much as childcare is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you.
Far too.
And my only issue, you don't gotta cover it. I don't even know. I don't know if Fox covered it or not, or Newsmax. But the fact that Piers tries to act like he's fair, this is how you know he's not.
Many innocent Palestinians have been killed, women and children.
And I love how he didn't show the question that was asked. That doesn't help. You just show her answering. We don't even know what was asked.
Have seen with horror the images coming out of
Like,
Gaza.
he's just so unreal. This not even even if you're gonna be biased, this ain't even reasonable bias.
And we have to agree that not only must we end this war,
And hell, at least she got an excuse. She had a cold.
but we have to have a goal of a two-state solution, because there must be stability and peace in that region, in as much as what we do in our goal is to ensure that Israelis have security and Palestinians in equal measure have security, have self-determination and dignity.
You see,
it sounds like it was still a coherent answer. It's just an answer that people don't fucking like. You cannot like an answer, but don't say it's word salad that meant nothing. You just don't like the answer. It's not like you didn't understand what she's saying. She wants a two-state solution. Is it reasonable? I don't know. But you don't like the answer. But it wasn't something you couldn't understand. Play that shit where Trump fucking responded to how he could bring down childcare, and the man talked about all types of nothing.
Candace, and there was another one the weekend where she was talking about the economy and saying that, she grew up with people who were proud of their lawns and all this kind of thing. And in the debate when
when Trump talks about fucking Hannibal Lecter because he doesn't know what seeking asylum means, he thinks insane asylums has to do with crazy people coming to our country, and he calls him Hannibal Lecter. You ain't bring up shit about that though.
Challenge
Fuck out of
specifically
here
about any policy stuff. Doesn't really say anything. She didn't say anything.
You don't
there.
like what she says. She responds a coherent answer, and sometimes it's drawn out, and sometimes she really goes around it.
About this Israel-Hamas war.
I don't like how she answers certain questions either. But you can't act like you don't understand what was said, even if it's a political answer.
Which is going to have any meaningful difference to what happens. It's all this kind of, as she would put it, her desire for joy, for everyone to get along, everyone to be peaceful and happy.
So you understood it, but you just didn't, like I said, you understood it, you just don't like it.
And everyone to be prosperous. Well, we all want that. But the more she talks about these things, the less impressed I am by what comes out of her mouth.
Are you impressed by Trump? Like, what the fuck? The man does not even understand anything.
What do you make of Kamala Harris, the candidate?
I truly think that the reason that they staged an effective coup on Joe Biden was simply because obviously
they called what happened with Biden a coup, just completely unrelated to how the fucking process is for them selecting their nominee. I'm so over these people.
been in such mental decline that they couldn't hide it anymore. And they at least needed a candidate that could remember the lines. And going into the debate, and obviously we're still waiting for more to come out, but we do have that ABC whistleblower who said that she was given the questions ahead of time, which would mean that she was given the time frame to remember the answers. And she's good for that. Like, she can remember.
That shit don't prove nothing. It look like a document somebody just typed out, and then they fucking blacked out all of the information that would be needed to verify the information. It's all blacked out.
The answers, and as if she's performing a high school play, and that's exactly what she did. But when it comes down to it, the reason why she is giving such few interviews far in between is because she is not actually able to give comprehensive answers. She doesn't act.
This is why I wish she didn't even do them, because all they want to do is pick apart her interviews. First, she wasn't doing interviews because she's scared to answer questions. Now she's doing interviews and she's answering questions and you don't like them. Then once the moment she's answering a question and it's not a fluff answer, you're going to act like she's lying or whatever. It's just it's no point. It was no point in her doing interviews. I don't give a fuck if she did another interview by the time she November come. I don't care. I know what her plans is. I know she's not going to try to overthrow the fucking democracy. I agree with some of her policies. That's it. I don't need you to give a fucking interview so people can just pick it apart and just sound ignorant like
actually
this.
Know what her policies are, which is why she flip-flops often on what her
She
policies
didn't flip-flop often. Trump flip-flopped in 24 hours on abortion. Kamala changed her views over fucking 4 and 8 years.
Her policies are essential.
And that makes sense for you. If she went to be a VP, she got in the trenches and saw things happen and knew that she couldn't get shit done without compromise, because who can in that position? So she learned a lot. She had to change some of her views. That's probably the most honest transitioning of changing your views that can get, versus just trying to cater to what everybody else think. She went in there and saw shit and had to probably alter up what she might want to do because she actually witnessed things firsthand. When you get in there, just like Bernie got all these crazy outlandish ideas that nobody fucking with, and so he got to tone it down.
Essentially whatever she's told to say. On the issue of Israel and Palestine, it is a vulnerable area for her. She does not want to lose the Muslim vote in America, so she's trying to just say things that
I think most people will want this thing to end peacefully. I'm not the guy that has the knowledge on Israel, Palestine, but it seems like most people will want it to end with less innocent people dying. And from the little bit I do understand, I think the two-state solution is just probably not plausible, but what would be ideal. It's just one of them things where, like, in a perfect world, it'll be a two-state solution. I think most people will want a two-state solution where people could just go their separate ways and nobody fuck with anybody. But I think the reality of the situation is that won't happen.
Sound nice, present a bunch of niceties, and sound kind.
Yeah. What do y'all want? What do y'all want a politician to
to
say? Yeah, we got to kill them till they give up and they're sucking us off on their knees.
The election, as long as I sound like I want there to be peace, we won't lose the Muslim vote and people that are passionate about this hot button issue.
Don't you want peace?
To me, I see her as little more than an
you
actress,
say you
somebody
want
that is
peace.
more effective than obviously Joe Biden, who couldn't do that anymore for them. But everything that you're seeing with her is performative. And I am happy that there are groups that recognize that now, like particularly Black men do not seem to be falling for this whatsoever. And people are calling into question why it is that she keeps flip-flopping on so many of her policies. I don't think there's much going on upstairs with her. And she's especially weak when it comes to speaking about economics. And you can see that. You even saw that during the debate.
I just wish you could say what you thought about Trump's performance at the debate. I'm done. I'm done, y'all. I'm done. This is ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. These people are crazy. I understand why Cenk was so fucking unhinged, because this is insanity. Like, they just saying shit that don't make any sense. They're lying. You see, he tried to get off another fucking fictional story in the news, just like J.D. Vance. He had to cut him. I was like, that wasn't true, because it was probably somebody on the right trying to make some shit look bad on the left. That's usually how it goes. I'm over these people, bro. They such fucking liars. They're not honest. And they have the luxury to not live in reality. But nonetheless, we're in reality over here on Logics, on Ill Logics. I was finna call it my gaming channel. If y'all not subbed to my gaming channel and you are into gaming, make sure you check that out too. Logics Lens on YouTube. All gaming content, stream games, talk about updates and gaming. But if you made it to this point in the video, leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.